Hello and welcome back to another episode of White Album 2. We are currently playing through the closing chapter on Mari-san's route. So Mari-san has left for her new job in America and Haruki has quit his part-time job. What a mess for the editorial department at Kaiosha.
マリさんが年下になびくとは到底思えないけどな。自分より仕事できない男、相手にしなさそう。
やっぱ考えすぎか。けどさ、それだといつまで経っても相手見つからないんじゃないか、あの人。
いやだからいつまで経ってもなんでもない。
あんなにかっこいいのに、ほんともったいないですよね。
そうやってかっこいいばかりで誰も可愛いって見てないところが問題なのかもな。
さあ、面白い冗談はこれくらいにして仕事。松岡、お前今日こそ上がるんだろうな。
任せといてください。今夜72時くらいには余裕っすよ。
That math works out.
事実は冗談よりもよっぽど面白いって本当ね。
Suzuki, ever the office gossip. By the time I went outside, the ephemeral winter sun was already setting. Having not gone outside for some time, the piercing cold of the harsh breeze permeates through my body painfully. The pain feels more extreme than I expected it to be, perhaps because it's amplifying the torturous, anxious feeling that's festering within me. I'm very anxious right now, because what I've been doing in relation to the situation I'm in doesn't make any sense. What have I even been doing? And this is while I know just how selfish, biased, cautious, and reckless I've been. About yesterday, Io invited us to go skiing. We'd rent a car, just the four of us, and we'd be spending the night. At least, that's what she told me. She also told me that Takeya-kun would talk to you about it, Haruki-kun. I wonder if you've already heard about it? I've never gone skiing before. Of course, I've never tried snowboarding either. Have you ever tried them before, Haruki-kun? The truth is, I've been meaning to try something like this for a long time. It's just that everyone's had the perception of me being an indoorsy person, and it wasn't exactly wrong either, so I never asked anyone to do it with me. But what if I finally got started now? Would I manage to keep improving? Would I be able to glide on the snow at some point? Those two are both really athletic, so I imagine if we casually followed them, they'd bring us back to the summit and leave us behind, don't you think? What do you plan to do, Haruki-kun? I'm kind of hesitant myself. The moment I heard you weren't going, I found myself at a loss. I mean, if you found out he wasn't going, then obviously he heard about it. After Setsuna's birthday party, after that horrible mess transpired between me and Mari-san, we started casually texting each other once again. Though we clearly couldn't bring ourselves to do it immediately after Christmas, we returned to being able to continue having simple exchanges about our daily life just like we used to. And this is despite me knowing that the feelings I have aren't meant for Setsuna anymore. And this is despite Setsuna also knowing that she's wavering because my feelings are no longer directed at her. Even so, we've been looking away from those days where we suffered with emptiness in our hearts. About yesterday, Takeya did call me last night, though I ended up berating him for asking me whether I'd go when he hasn't even decided when or where we'd be having this trip in the first place. And while I'm at it, the one thing he did mention he decided on was that we'd be going to a place with hot springs to lure you into coming along, Setsuna. I've never gone skiing or snowboarding before either. Someone did throw around the idea for a group overnight skiing trip in one of my seminars, but the event coordinator shot that idea down pretty quickly. That said, I'll put a hold on my response for now. I haven't decided whether I'll be going yet. That's why you should decide whether you want to go without worrying about me, Setsuna. Sorry for giving you such an unclear answer, but this is about as good an answer as I can give to you right now. Goodbye. Before I pressed the button to send my text, I deleted a single line. Was I talking about my answer to the invitation to the skiing trip, or my answer to something else entirely? Even I'm not sure anymore. Man, Haruki, you gotta make up your mind. As I finally click the send button, the ever so slightly shorter text is sent. I wonder what's going to happen to us from now on. Will Setsuna and I slowly thaw out the snow around us, in the hopes that someday, once we've both made some progress in our lives, we'll find a new world waiting for us there? Or will the snow only reveal the filth beneath us once more, just as it did when it melted 3 years ago? Or will we, perhaps, continue to drag out this agonizing limbo where time seems to have frozen for all eternity? God, I hope not. But if I happen to choose such a passive path, I'll never be able to beat Mari-san again. If I choose her, I'll have no choice but to plow through the snow myself. I'll have to desperately keep trying through my own blood, sweat, and tears. After all, she's gone somewhere that's far beyond my reach, and quite literally at that. Just like she did. What am I doing right now? What do I want to do? I had so many reasons for coming out today the way I did, but in the end, I don't even know if anything I've done today has actually caused me to spill any of my own blood, sweat, or tears. I just don't know what the right thing to do is. The moment I was about to board the train, my cell phone rang, its tune so soft that it was drowned out by the noise of the train. But while I expected to see Takeya's name on the display, I instead saw an unfamiliar 10-digit number.
Hi.
And the voice I heard the next moment was... An unfamiliar, friendly voice that I vaguely remember hearing before.
Yahoo, Haruki kun! 久しぶりね!
Man, if not for other people picking up Haruki and dragging him around, he would get nowhere.
Amamiya-san. Sawako-san.
This time, the unfamiliar, friendly voice that I'd vaguely remembered hearing before greeted me at a bar in the middle of the night.
Soれじゃ、邪魔者のいない二人きりの夜に。
ネタですよね。
それは春樹くんの解釈に任せるわ。とりあえずお疲れ様。
俺はもう春休みですから。それにバイトも最近はしてないし。
やめちゃったの？海洋社。
もともと俺マリさんの部下ですし、マリさんがいなくなったらもう雇用関係はないも同然ですから。
That is 100% not true. You were offered a job under Hamada-san. When I was in the middle of explaining that Mari-san is no longer working there, Sawako-san grimaced, as if the wine in her glass had suddenly turned bitter. And I can feel that same bitter taste rising in my own mouth as well.
ところで、俺の連絡先はマリさんから。
鈴木ちゃんに聞いた。こっちから出した交換条件に思いっきり食いついてね。
I bet it was that sweet, sweet gossip.
はあ。
What she had to offer in exchange?
迷惑だった？でも、私の方から無理に聞き出したんだから、鈴木ちゃんを責めないでね。
そんな風には思ってません。けど。
What does she mean by what she had to offer in exchange?
それにね、一度だけ春樹くんにかけたことあるのよ。グアムから年明け早々に。
沢子さんだったんですか、あれ。
結局ワインの木図と消えてしまったけどね。
And it caused me to feel so upset at Mari-san of all people. At the same time, it was the alarm that signaled the beginning of something, as well as the explosion of my complicated thoughts.
それ以来マリのやつ以前にも増してガードが固くなりやがってさ。春樹くんの番号だけは死んでも教えるかって。
I never would have imagined that these emotions were the result of a third party's manipulation. Mari-san never bore even a shred of responsibility for the beginning of our relationship. Back then, I simply forced my negative emotions upon Mari-san one-sidedly, even though she had done nothing wrong. And even then, she...
なんかダメージ受けてる？
俺。
ま、今日はそんな古いことは忘れて、とりあえず潰れるまで飲みましょう。生き残った方が既成事実を作る方向で。
Very dangerous mindset. Do not try this at home. In contrast to Sawako-san's cheerful mood, I just couldn't bring myself to cheer up. After all, I've realized why she had me come here today at this exact time. No, I actually had my doubts at the very beginning, but by now I'm entirely convinced.
酔っちゃった。もうダメかも、私。
確かにそれだけの狩猟であることは認めますが、実はちっとも酔ってませんよね。
In less than 10 minutes after our first toast, she'd already gone through 3 drinks. 3 drinks! In that short amount of time, of course she's drunk. And even after that, Sawako-san single-mindedly maintained a pace of 1 drink every 5 minutes. Downing glass after glass.
ほんと細かいわね、春樹くん。
マリさんの強さは知ってますから。当然いつもそれに朝まで付き合ってる沢子さんの強さも抑えてます。
And yet her tone remained as impeccable as ever. I could clearly tell that every joke coming from her mouth was deliberate.
マリのお酒の強さは知ってるんだ。あいつがとことんまで飲むところに立ち会ってるんだ。
それは
なんてね。お互い今さらごまかさなくてもいいわよね。
それってつまり、
たとえ雇用関係が移動とともになくなったとしても、男女関係はそんなに簡単には消えないわよね。
And 30 minutes after our first toast, Sawako-san finally throws down the gauntlet.
マリと寝たんでしょ？
は
それも一度きりの過ちとかじゃなくて、
彼女の部屋に何度も泊めてもらいました。
And I respond to Sawako-san's confrontation unfazed. It's because I want to just get over with confronting her about the true intention of inviting me out here. After all, as much as she has many questions she wants to ask me, I too have a mountain of things I'd like to ask her.
ね、春樹くん。私は今結構あなたに腹を立ててるのよ。
最初から分かってました。
2、3発殴っても罰当たらないんじゃないかって、そのくらいは思ってるのよ。
I mean, violence is not the answer, ever.
思ってるだけじゃなく実践してください。逆に俺はそれを願ってるんだから。
私が殴ってもマリの傷は癒えないのよ。あなたは罰を受けた気になって少しは救われるのかもしれないけど。
すいません。
Sawako-san's impish tone fades away, and she instead attacks me with a torrent of heart-wrenching words that stab into my chest like blades.
私はマリの側の人間だからマリに不利になるようなことは言わない。
But as far as I can say, as the one who's supposedly getting stabbed, her words feel terribly dull.
特にあいつは今の段階で圧倒的に不利だからね。ちっとも駆け引きしてやがらないんだもの。
She's not out to kill me because of the weight of my sins. She's not even leaving me with a single wound.
だから今はただあなたの気持ちを確認しておきたいだけ。
She just wants to help her friend. She's so sweet. No matter how I look at it, she's simply asking me, "You regret it, don't you?" In the kindest way possible.
春樹くん、あなたマリのことを
好きです。
どういうところが？
こう言ってしまうのはものすごく不遜だって相手のことを軽く見てるって思われるかもしれませんが、
いいから続けて。
可愛くて。
She was cute in the way she showed me her disapproving, pouting expression when I professed how guilty I felt toward her, albeit not for the reason I expected. She was cute in the way she broke character and found herself at her wit's end, and in the way she became seriously depressed when she realized what she was doing.
年上の女性にこんなことを思ってしまうのは俺の感性の問題かもしれませんけど。
The age, I just can't get over it. The age difference is not that big at all. 5 years. It's not that big. When you talk about older women like this, it's like 10 years, 15 years, 5 years? Are you kidding me? When I forced myself upon her, the way her voice and breathing were when she succumbed to pleasure, despite being so embarrassed and bewildered.
そこまで見せてるの？マリのやつ、本物の本当に本気なんだ。
佐和子さん、
それで？
嬉しかったんです。仕事じゃ見せない顔、俺にだけ見せてくれることが。
Whenever I was in her apartment with her, it felt as if she belonged to no one else but me in the whole world.
あんなに広い世界を持ってて、しかもその中を自由に飛び回れるマリさんが、俺みたいな男にこだわってくれるのが。
Whenever I was in bed with her, it felt as if she had eyes for no one else but me in the whole world.
すごく心に染みたんです。彼女に最初に求めてたことを忘れてしまうくらい。
As I finished with my revealing confession,
おかわり。
Sawako-san finished yet another drink. And she still doesn't seem like she's getting drunk in the slightest.
ちょっと意外だった。
She gazes at me with a resolute look in her eyes, though the glint in them has changed just enough that they no longer look like they're condemning me.
まさかマリのことはっきり好きだって言うなんて。
だって好きですから。
嫌いじゃないけどとか言ったきり、その先が続けられなくてぐだぐだ悩むのかと思ってた。
俺のしてることはそれと変わらないですよ。
そうかな。印象的にはそれほど悪くなかったわよ。
好きだって言ったところで、言わなかったところで、俺のしたことが最低だってことに変わりないです。
I mean, that much is true. We definitely know that.
ん？
誰に対しても好きって言えないんじゃなくて、誰に対しても好きって言ってしまっただけなんです。
春樹くん。
変わりないですよ。ごまかされてるんですよ、沢子さん。マリさんと同じように。
自己分析できるんだ。自分の悪いところ冷静に見れるんだ。
いくら見れたって直せないなら意味がないんです。
Ever since then, ever since I betrayed Setsuna and got separated from Kazusa, because you make these mistakes because of your indecision. And even with Mari-san and Setsuna just now, your indecision. Or rather, I guess it is your decision because you decided on Setsuna. I've always been aware of my own flaws. I've been aware of how my attitude, my words, and my decisions have been gradually wounding Setsuna, and how the distance between us came to be because of it. I've remained aware of what kind of person I really am, as well as how much sorrow I've been putting Setsuna through for the past 3 years. But I've been unable to correct any of it. In that sense, I've been cruel and incompetent.
だから俺の言葉になんて説得力がないんです。何の意味もないんですよ。
And despite how meaningless this is, I've been repeatedly spewing out meaningless words today. Word after word, describing things that I cannot tell Setsuna and Setsuna alone, keep coming out of my mouth. That's fine. You don't have to tell everyone every little thing. You just have to not lie to people. And I'm telling all of this to the best friend of the one person I love, even though I've only met her once in the past. The moment I stopped talking, Sawako-san looked away from me and I looked straight ahead, as if to think about something. Is she fed up with me? Is she giving up on me? Or does she still harbor some resentment towards me? With the way she's getting deep into thought and continuing glass after glass, I just can't understand what it all means right now.
来月にね。あの子、もう一度帰国してくるの。今度こそ、赴任のための最後の準備でね。次に渡米したら、もうしばらくは帰ってこないと思う。
And the glimmer of hope for Haruki has returned.
沢子さん。
だからその時、マリともう一度だけ話してあげて。
Oh, this is a new song.
マリの親友としてのお願い。あの子に最後のチャンスを与えてあげて。
何を
But the feelings that Sawako-san is harboring right now are not those of discontent, resignation, or hatred.
お願い、春樹くん。
Rather, she's making a request of me that I can't understand, as if she's the one in the wrong in this case. As if she simply doesn't understand what I just said. No, it's as if she had no intention of understanding me in the first place. It's generous yet foolish, just like how Mari-san unconditionally stood by me, and how Setsuna showered me with her unyielding kindness. She's offering me terms that completely ignore how the world actually works, and are incredibly convenient.
でも俺今はまだマリさんに会いません。
どうして？
But with the way I am now, they come across as painful instead.
本当は最初から二人で会えるはずなかったんです。少なくとも男の顔して会う資格なんかなかった。
それって
今の俺はマリさんを傷つけたあの時から何も変わってないんです。会ったところで結果は変わらないですよ。
So fix it. It's so simple. Just call up Setsuna and be like, hey, like, we're gonna break up for real though. I'm interested in someone else. We can still be friends. And then that's it. It's solved. It's so simple.
トーマカズサのこと。それとも今、春樹くんのそばにいる彼女のこと。
マリさんって沢子さんに本当に何でも話すんですね。
気を悪くしたかな。なら謝るけど。
いいえ、悪くないです。俺にとってはすごく好ましいです。
After all, Setsuna and I are both the kind of people who can't really do that. Instead, we keep everything bottled up and harm ourselves in the process. Not a healthy thing to do.
俺はマリさんに昔好きだった人の面影を見てた。マリさんを今でも好きな人と同時に好きになった。
Before I could realize it, I found myself attracted to her dignified, straightforward attitude and her forthcoming personality that allowed her to share everything with her best friend.
そんな状態のままどんな顔して許してくれって言えるんです。
ならいつ
Sawako-san falls for any attempt at deception as long as it's positive, but she sees right through any attempt at deception that's negative.
いつなら会ってくれるの？
沢子さん。
いつになったら決断できるの？マリを選ぶか、マリを捨てるか。
If I tell her that I can't see her right now, she's not going to let that slide. Yeah, because that's what you've been doing for years. And look what it's got you. You can't keep doing that,
言
Haruki.
っておくけどね、マリにはあなたみたいに長い時間は用意されてないのよ。
Also, that's a really rude thing to say about someone who's not even 30.
そんなこと。
あるのよ。ぶっちゃけマリは四捨五入するともう30なのよ。
沢子さん。
あいつこの調子じゃものすっごい引きずるよ。5年は新しい男見つけられないの確定よ。
But what came out of her mouth was something completely unexpected.
春樹くんの5年とマリの5年は違うんだからね。あいつが5年後いくつになってるかわかる？
Can you fathom it? She'll be in her early 30s. Gasp. For real, this game is so, like, ageism, you know?
そんなことがあるわけが。
ないと思う？ならその根拠は？
After all, someone as beautiful, cool, and smart as her, someone as awkward, adorable, and silly as her, could never end up like that, is what I want to end my sentence with, but I suddenly feel myself break out in a cold sweat with my heart racing. I know she's extremely awkward when it comes to love. Wasn't it precisely because she's so awkward that she's been alone until she met me? And wasn't it precisely because she's so awkward and so easily flustered that I was unable to resist embracing her?
新しい男ができそうな頃には30超えてるのよ。あなたのせいでもう20代終了なのよ、マリ。
She's acting like this because she's her best friend. She can criticize her without mercy and picture the worst possible future for her. Even though she's being brutally blunt, I can see just how deeply she cares about her.
だから早く決断してあげて。もし捨てるなら最悪の別れ方してやって、思いっきり冷たく嘲笑ってやって。
That's really terrible. But I guess it's easier to hate someone than it is to be left, like, in the middle, you know, the gray area.
そんなこと俺は。
そうするしかないの。すぐ次の恋に走らせるか、一生恋を諦めさせるかしないとダメなの。
As I remain as indecisive as ever, Sawako-san proposes a way to put an end to everything in an absolutely unimaginable way.
わかる？今回のことはね、マリの今までの人生で一番深刻な事態なの。あなたがあの子をズブズブの深みにはめたから。
And this is true. If you've been cheated on, you remember that stuff for the rest of your life. So honestly, he needs to clear up everything. She's never once scolded me for being indecisive, only blaming Mari for letting her emotions run so deep, while wielding her words more like blunt instruments than blades.
私、前に言ったわよね。マリがあなたのことを認めた理由。
けどあれは。
盲目的に惚れたか、あいつに釣り合う男か。まさか そのどっちもだとは思わなかったけどね。
What Sawako-san just told me was utterly ridiculous. She said that she wouldn't say anything that would put her best friend in a bad spot, but she's exposing all of her weaknesses right now. It's as if she's pestering me to strike while the iron is hot. Well, clearly, you're on a time limit here. You've got to sort your stuff out. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for being here on this episode of Mari-san's Route, and I'll be back with more shortly. Until then, I hope you take care. See you!